It must be fun being Adam Silver, seeing that, you know, after LeBron retires, there's a whole crop of new talent coming in the force. But some of the crop of new talent has left others in the dust. Some players you wouldn't even think would be irrelevant by now. This is basically a video where I'm attempting to explain why some of these guys, their time is running out, okay? And the first guy that I'm going to talk about is Mr. Demetrius here, Ja Morant. Once regarded as a staple of this beautiful game we call basketball. We all know of the stuff that happened since, obviously. But even after that controversy, in the playoffs, he went for 45 points in this game here. But it didn't matter because they ultimately did lose the series as a #2 seed.
Ja Morant has been suspended for a second time.
And then he did the same thing he did, but oh man. And then he obviously didn't learn his lesson. And at that point, people just completely lost respect or confidence for him, his stock coming back up. He even tried proving that it was a fake gun or whatever. This was just sad. But I think what really tanked his stock right afterwards was not just that he looked good in his return game. Legit, he had a game winner that was actually nice to watch. That was beautiful. A beautiful game. It's like we got to see vintage Ja, and then it seemed like he didn't learn his lesson. You know, weeks later, he would flash a gun again after celebrating. Him getting hurt just, it was terrible. It blue balled us. Like, we were all blue balled, and we have to wait now another season to watch this guy play basketball. And now it's not just the controversies, right? He's trying to move on from that, but now it's injury issues. And we've been thinking that Ja was gonna get hurt severely after, you know, seeing how he would dunk and jump. It was actually a point of concern back in his rookie year. I mean, this guy would, he's reckless, man. And this is always something that people pointed out as like a concern, right? But I ultimately think people are forgetting, like, quickly that he was a great player. He was so dominant for his size, man. This dude went band for band into playing against Steph Curry, for crying out loud. The Steph Curry that finished third in his 2021 MVP season, quote unquote, right? He finished third in MVP voting. And in a game that went to overtime, he was clutch and put up 35, 6, and 6. Why did I just say 4 steals, 3 yeah, I gotta stop. It's to a point where people forgot that this Grizzlies team was actually a #2 seed like less than 2 years ago. This is Ja's first playoff games, okay? 26 points, 47 points right off the gate. This guy is insane. The 28, right? He put up numbers. That 47 points just sticks out like a sore thumb. And then the following year, he would actually improve on that, so much so that he had a career-high 52-point game. And they were legit putting his name in like MVP convos that he had no business being in.
This is probably one of the best stretches that we've seen. And I mean, we just were talking a couple days ago about, okay, he tied, I believe, was it the franchise record in points? Now he's obliterated with 52.
I'm not saying there was no reason for him to get buzz, right? There was valid reasons for him to get MVP buzz at the time, but come on now, he still had to compete with a lot of these guys here on the list. You legit had AI praising him, saying sooner or later you're gonna get that MVP, Ja.
Ja Morant, what he's doing right now, he is the MVP of late, in my opinion. You know, disrespect to DeMar DeRozan.
What a wild time to be alive, man. DeMar DeRozan in the MVP talks.
He's the most marketable guy in our league, the face of our league going forward. So many kids are inspired by what he does.
You just think he's a new face?
Of the league? Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of faces. You can tell the changing of the eras in the league as time goes on.
And what KD's pointing to is that Ja was like at the forefront of the new era changing, right? Before the Jalen Brunsons and Tyrese Halliburtons and the Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, right? But, you know, some things behind the scenes and obviously self-inflicted, of course, have set him back from being that next face, right? He was band for band.
Could go band for band. Fuck that, we can go M for M.
You know, outplaying Edwards. Not that long ago, you had Usher and Ja's dad lookalikes, to say the least. He was nothing short of electric, man. The way people used to talk about Ja is now how they talk about Anthony Edwards, though, years later.
Here's the deal, y'all. I don't really engage in hyperbole nearly as much as I engage. Boy, here's the deal, y'all. I don't really engage in hyperbole nearly as much as I engage in fact.
Who the hell are you lying to, Steven? Man, you think people are getting fooled by this stuff? Come on, man.
This brother is something special.
Yes, he
is something special. He brings out, he is rapidly evolving into my favorite player in the NBA.
Stephen A's out here calling him Skywalker, you know, talking about MJ Kobe, right? And it's because he showed out in the playoffs. He deserves a lot of this praise. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It was beautiful to watch. ESPN got full-on segments basically alluding to Edwards being the next Michael Jordan. This is crazy. And I'm not surprised. He's brazen, he's electrifying, he's exciting, he's really entertaining to watch, just like Ja Morant was years ago. So if he doesn't get his act together and, you know, obviously stays healthy, he's gonna be able to recover. But if he doesn't, oh boy, his time will soon be up, and his career will go into ashes, forever overshadowed by the players that came after him. And now we got, you know, Trae Young here. It is by no means a secret that this dude is not well liked in the NBA sphere in general.
Right now. Oh. He did come out at Kobe athletically as the most overrated player.
Yeah, in 2023, he did come out as the most overrated player by his peers. But this year in 2024, he was actually lapped up by both Jordan Poole and Rudy Gobert. Interesting. Trae Young receiving 6 of the 81 votes. Obviously, Rudy Gobert, he's got like way more than that. But this just further proves the perception around Trae Young league-wide. It's way worse than it was back in 2021, where he was still regarded as a villain, obviously, to Knicks fans. And again, back to this 2021 playoffs, it feels like he's still trying to ride off of that peak moment of his career. But like, he's still putting up crazy numbers as is, but people still regard it as empty stats, you know, empty calorie stats, so to speak, right? He's putting up 8, 9, regularly 9, 10 assists a game now. Like, it seems like he's improving offensively, but nobody gives a damn anymore, right? He's putting up, what, 25 plus points a game over the last 5 seasons? 25 and 9 a game over the last 5 seasons. How many players have done that in their careers? Let's see this. So I looked at the numbers. Only 8 people have done it at least once. I'm trying to look at here. I think only 5 people have done it at least twice. Only 2 people have done it at least 3 times, with that being Trae Young and Oscar Robertson. I think Oscar Robertson did it 7 times. Okay, he was a very prolific player in his prime years. Trae Young, though, he did it in the modern era. He's the only one to do it more than twice, and he did it 5 times in his career. He's only played 6 seasons, okay? But these are empty stats. These are empty stats. Oh, okay, fine. We can look at how he's shooting a career 43% field goal, right? And talk about how he's inefficient, right? His stats only amount to so much when you're so ass. And that's gonna obviously ignore how basically half of his shots are 3-pointers, okay? So what are we even doing? And he shoots it at league average, I'm pretty sure, but perhaps a bit below average. But anyway, he is doomed to obviously be overshadowed by Steph Curry. Even though they don't play the same way, people have compared him to Steph in the past. And obviously, whatever Luka does is obviously going to reflect back to Trae because of that draft day trade. Legit, Luka could have been a Hawk, Trae Young could have been a Mav, but no, they decided both teams to trade. And this would obviously be a parallel that would play out throughout their careers as one does something. 2021 was Trae that went to the conference finals. Oh, he's a bright spot in the league. And more recently, it's been Luka Doncic who's made it not just to the conference finals in 2022, but to the NBA finals as well. I know now people are debating whether or not this finals is basically a stain on his legacy, and I get it. People will say this is like his LeBron 2007 moment, right? He's going to get better from this, right? But a guy like Trae, I mean, he hasn't been to the finals, and obviously everything Luka does is going to reflect back to to Trae here.
Yet in being a franchise player, people blame you. Oh man, Lloyd Pierce this. It's Trae Young's fault.
Not to mention the fact that there's been 2 coaches fired during his short tenure in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure half of you watching forgot that this guy Lloyd Pierce was coaching the Hawks during Trae's early years.
I got nothing for you guys. You can ask away. I got nothing for you.
Insert whatever cheesy violin song that you want. Oh, the sad violin. He's depressed. Trae Young did this to him. It was a bit messy how he got fired. It was obviously a bit messy how McMillan got fired, right? After coming there and obviously bolstering things in 2021 to where they made the conference finals. It seems like despite that, he couldn't stay in Atlanta, man. Things just didn't work out. And it's one of those things that's always going to reflect poorly on a franchise player, especially when they're in the rumblings of trade rumors or whatnot. And this is where, just like with Ja Morant, you know, his compatriots, his peers are, you know, lapping him in the process. You could say, oh, they're in the better situation that Trae ever was. But Jalen Brunson is genuinely a player that a lot of people, you know, don't really associate him with anything as villainous or as bad as what they associate Trae with. And it's funny seeing Knicks fans, obviously, you know, you see them from time to time still say, fuck Trae Young, fuck Trae Young. Even against Philly, they were saying this. Just like with Trae Young, it was his moment, 2021. Now, guys are just slapping him left and right, man. It's not just Jalen Brunson. With his crazy playoff scoring and obviously dishing it out too, I don't think Trae Young has ever even scored 47 points. Nothing close to it in the playoffs. I lied. He scored 48 points, a point above Jalen Brunson's 47 points in the conference finals. Trae Young's still better. Nah, nah. This is Trae Young looking at you Hawks fans coping, man. He knows, even he knows, man, he's losing the fight. He's losing the war. For crying out loud, this guy scored 61 points in a game. I know it was against the Spurs, but that's against Wemby. This guy scored 61 points, and it was beautiful to watch. And obviously, the way the playoffs ended for Jalen Brunson was unfortunate. He was hurt. But Halliburton being in the conference finals as well, I mean, fluky, not fluky, you could say whatever. But Trae Young isn't the one that's going to Team USA practices, you know, playing with the Olympic team. I mean, look, Tyrese is way better than Trae Young. He's a way better playmaker. I can already hear the debate spewing in the comments. Okay, y'all can debate for yourselves, bro. The point is, this guy Tyrese basically did what Trae Young did in 2021, albeit you might argue that the teams he played against were injured. And obviously having a Reggie Miller hoodie and not wearing it before the Game 7, but wearing it afterwards. Come on, bro. That's just that's weird, bro. But everybody will agree the master voice changer in Halliburton, I mean, he's taking the spotlight away from Trae, just like Brunson did, especially with the Hawks now being a serial playing team. And it seems like they're committed to it a bit now. This is a franchise that seems to be satisfied with being mediocre, just like the Bulls are, right? It's really sad. Hey, man, I guess those ticket sales are going to skyrocket now that they got the first pick of the NBA draft in 2024. Oh, yeah, this will be good. A star player next to Trae Young, finally!
Very cool. I don't know much about him, though. Like, I haven't seen any, like, real highlights to kind of compare or see what his game is like or
Paul George is saying this, by the way, about the #1 pick in the 2024 NBA draft. This is a crazy indictment.
To be honest with you, and no disrespect to the guys that got drafted, I mean, from the outlook looking in, and some guys made surprises, but a lot of us look at them as role players coming in anyway. Nobody, we didn't like the last 3 #1 picks. You got Victor, you got like Ant Edwards, you got some big time names. None of these guys, whether it was Reed, who's going to be a hell of an NBA player, or Alex, who didn't play well in Summer League, but who's going to be a hell of an NBA player. But a lot of these guys could be just role players.
Yo, your old teammate saying this. Yo, the #1 pick of a draft being a role player. What is happening to this league, man? And because they got the #1 pick, people thought they were going to trade Trae Young, including myself, okay? There's videos like these. Oh, Trae Young might be impossible to trade. Apparently, his trade value was nosediving.
The interesting thing is what happens with Trae Young, their all-star guard. And I think when you talk to teams and you look at the landscape of the league, the window for Trae Young to maximize the most value in a trade, I believe, is closed.
It's to the point where Bobby Marks is apparently saying during draft night that DeJounte Murray was more valuable in trade talks.
When you look at teams right now, there's not a lot of teams that are willing to kind of ante up all their draft picks to go out and get a player like Trae Young. DeJounte Murray actually has more value than Trae Young at this stage.
Wow.
And that's how he was able to get traded out of Atlanta. But Trae, he's not able to get traded. And yeah, this reflected in the markets, obviously. New Orleans actually trading for DeJounte Murray. Now, obviously, this gets them back some picks. Not exactly their picks, right? They still have the Spurs with the Hawks picks, right? But they do have a rather valuable Laker pick from that New Orleans Anthony Davis trade, right? They even have the Kings 2025 first round pick. Obviously, it's top 12 protected. But if it lands, late in the lottery, right, the Kings might be out of the play-in yet again. Plausible scenarios where Atlanta gets another pick in a very loaded draft class, apparently. But yeah, it makes sense though. DeJounte Murray's value is basically half of Trae's, and not just that, he's on a much more flexible contract to where Trae Young, you're asking basically to bring in another max player on a team that probably, if you're contending, already has at least one or two of them, right? That's a lot to ask. I don't think you can do that in this new CBA. So his market, quote unquote, dying down, it makes sense, right? Along with the fact that people already don't view him positively. His contract is a huge load, pause. And obviously, you don't expect Atlanta to become a surefire playoff team, even with Ricky Sachet and, make Dyson Daniels from down under. How was that accent? Was it good, Aussies? Please let me know. I hope you guys like that accent. I've seen Hawks fans be more optimistic of Dyson Daniels' fit next to Trae, working out way better than it did with DeJounte Murray. That might be possible. Other than the fact that the Hawks employ an array of light-skinned people now. You can include Bogey in there, I don't care. It's led some people to think that, they might come out, obviously on demon timing. And if they do overperform their expectations, people are probably going to think they're going to flame out like the 2015 Hawks did. I mean, that franchise is cursed.
You, of course. You, of course, as you know, are the focal point of a lot of rumors at the moment. So before I ask any of these questions, I want to put a disclaimer and be very clear that the Hawks have not said anything and Trae has not requested a trade. These are just reports.
It's very, very plausible that the Hawks will have to make a decision on Trae at some point. Seeing that the team basically has a ceiling of being a first-round exit. Maybe the Hawks are masochists and they think Trae Young is like the best thing since sliced bread and they'll never trade him away or whatnot. But so many have the feeling that, Trae's time in Atlanta will end sooner rather than later. And that's for a good reason. I mean, this team is not really going to do much in the next couple of years, is what most people are predicting, at least. And so because of that, people will continue to overshadow him in terms of the point guard conversation. He can continue to rack up 25 plus points, 9 plus assist seasons. But it won't matter, okay, if this keeps happening. His time will eventually come out in his career forever overshadowed by those peers.
Zion Williamson seems to have lost some weight and looks in great shape.
Other than this annoying AI voice, right, this video does offer an interesting perspective. This is, I think, the 4th time we're seeing a Zion Williamson. Oh, he's lost weight this summer. He's about to come in and be a demon. You think I'm kidding? I mean, just look at these pictures from last year in 2023 when people were saying, oh, he's transformed. He's transformed. Look at him, oh, Zion.
Just a few days ago, more photos were released of Zion in training camp, and he's looking jacked.
This was a legit thing, man. People were talking about, he's transformed.
The latest and greatest news of Zion in form came in the form of an ad campaign.
I am not kidding when I say this is a reoccurring theme, almost like we are seeing the hype that once was of Zion increasingly die down year by year, almost like he's Ben Simmons, right? Oh, the offseason shooting, he's about to be a demon. I'm not joking, by the way. A video by Hassel highlights Ben Simmons becoming a lethal shooter. League is not ready. Wait, why does this gym look familiar?
Hey, bro, we're not doubling an open gym.
That's why. I forgot about this. This man's weight is as volatile as Bitcoin, okay? This guy is, it's insane, bro. I know crypto nerds are about to be mad. Bitcoin's actually gone up over the last month or two. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your money. I'm just saying, bro, like the volatility is a bit chilling, bro. I don't know, bro. It's even downright to his play style. I think a lot of people are worried he'll get hurt, right? I've talked about it ad nauseum in a video recently, right? One of my all-time favorite thumbnails to work on. This was fun to make. AI generated, by the way. I know. I'm gonna get some slack for. I'm gonna get some flack for that. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
Can Zion live up to the LeBron hype?
Yes, he can. This shit's just not fair, bro. I feel bad for Zion having to live up to a hype. He doesn't have to do shit, nigga. Actually, wait. He does have to keep himself within weight limits, okay? He has weight clauses in his contract, right? I forgot about that. It's funny how we got the number 1 and number 2 pick from this draft class, 2019. And both their careers on a similar trajectories, right? It's quite interesting. I think a lot of people remember how hyped the Pelicans were when they got the number 1 pick. Obviously, they had like a 1% chance of getting it.
This is a basketball tragedy.
And this dude Zion getting hurt in the playing game just summarizes the state of his career right now. It's just sad. Not to mention how weeks before that game, he was almost in a scary incident here with Gary Harris. The guy just could not catch a break, obviously. 40 points, career high in the playoffs and postseason. Wait, he's never played a playoff game before this playing game. This is his first postseason game, technically, and he's had a 40-point game. The potential's there. We all see it, the hype. Oh my gosh. It's just sad that, you know, this had to obviously happen. It's just sad. He clearly did not want to leave the game, but had to because he felt something in his leg. And yeah, he couldn't play against the Kings. Even though they won that playing game, he couldn't play in the playoffs yet again. I mean, that's just gonna sum up his career if it keeps going this way. Wendy calling it a basketball tragedy, that's exactly what this is. He's so beloved by a lot of people in the league. Okay, when I made that video, I got a lot of hate comments. People saying, why are you shitting on Zion? It's not fair to him. And he genuinely does seem like a nice guy, but look, his team is not that good. Just like the Hawks, just like, I mean, look, a lot of teams in the West are, quite frankly, not, you know, up to par against like the top team, like a Celtics team, even a Knicks team. I think a lot of West teams are going to wake up to reality where their championship hopes are going to be dwindled because they're just not good enough. I might make a video on that separate topic sometime this week or next week. I don't know when. But the Pelicans are mid. Let's be honest. They don't even have a center right now, man. Yves Missi, the rookie drafted this year, is apparently going to be their starting center. Gone are the days where he's an upcoming prospect. Gone are the days where he's basically just flashing his potential all in front of us and we're all just dazzling at how high he jumps. Now he's in the stage of a career that we've seen from Ben Simmons where he has to show that he still got it. And obviously, Ben Simmons obviously flamed out in a very embarrassing way. I don't think Zion will do that, but he's not the most captivating, the most promising prospect we've seen in a long time since LeBron James anymore. That's Wemby now. Wemby's the one being put on posters all over the US and France, right? He's being put on posters internationally. He's a global brand representative at Nike. You have LeBron in this commercial, right? You have Giannis in this commercial, but you also have a Victor Wembanyama. They don't even have KD here. KD is like a big face in Nike. This could have been Zion. This could have been Ja Morant. No, they got Wemby. They got Giannis. They got LeBron. These are the faces now. These are the big face. They got overshadowed already, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Says who?
Who remembers that commercial? Who even remembers this anymore? Nike swoosh. That used to be Ja Morant. He used to be the face of it. And I know Zion, he's a Jordan guy. That's basically Nike, bro. Like, that's the same company, bro. Zion could have been the face. Ja, I'm telling you, this stuff is going to repeat itself with these guys if they do not get it together. This right here will be the lasting memory of these guys.
Zion Williamson, he looks fat.
That's gonna overshadow everything he does until he shows us that he can rebound from this stuff. He can actually perform and play in the playoffs. Oh, hello! Until then, he's at risk of meeting the same fate as the other two we talked about. And with him, I'm hearing that he eats the whole table. Like, I don't know if that's true, but his career is gonna blow to ashes, to smithereens. Just like his knees are if he does not get it together. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's one thing to obviously have your legacy and reputation be tarnished because of stuff that you did wrong, right? But like at the very least, like these guys, right? They have a chance to actually rebound from this. They have a chance to prove the haters wrong, right? Like they've done their whole lives. Ja Morant especially, Trae Young especially. Look, these guys have proven their doubters wrong time after time. There's no reason to believe that they won't be able to do it again. But I'm not gonna lie, it's another thing if you were to like win a championship, say, and still being slandered for not showing up. Like, you're at the peak of your career, winning a championship at 26, and yet people are saying that you got worse as a player. Ja Morant and Zion and Trae. Hey, look, man, they can thank their lucky stars they were on the U.S. team. They might have been the victims of Steve Kerr's rotations, right? I know this is a bit tongue in cheek, right? Like Tatum, he's a good player, but like people don't think he's that good, even though he just won a championship at 26. It's crazy. And for a player that's been healthy, very healthy actually, his durability is one thing that people don't talk about enough. A player like that who has such a great story, something that you can root for, man, something you can get behind from St. Louis, right? He struggled, obviously, his family, right? His mother was basically a single mother out of college, right? Taking classes with him as a baby. And yet people hate this guy. They don't like him. People slander this guy all too often. It's very common for people to hate on him. And it's like, it seems like he's doing the right thing. Why is he getting more hate? Well, I talk about that and more in this video that I made recently, okay? It's a very detailed video, just like this one. It's about why people hate Tatum. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you like this channel, subscribe. We'll put out more content once a week on Sundays. I know I'm late today, but I'm hoping this is an exception, not the norm. All right, peace out.